I'm going to tell you the story of the night that I thought I was going to die. I'll keep it really brief, but it's really profound. So stay till the very end so you can hear what happened. So this happened in my early 30s. My girlfriends and I went to Big Sur, California from San Francisco, and we wanted to spend the weekend there. And we didn't have a lot of money at the time. Excuse me. We didn't have a lot of money at the time. So what we booked was a very almost like a motel, like complete bare bones room. And all the room had was like a couple lamps, two beds, and a bathroom, no phone and no cell service. Like we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's not like there's not like a concierge to or valet. It's nothing like that. Like it was so bare bones. Like the windows didn't lock. It was like everything was like cardboard. So we wanted to go and just like have a good time in Big Sur. And we also wanted to go to Esalen, which is a spiritual center there in Big Sur. Now they have these like spring hot tub springs, they're hot tubs made of spring water. And you can't use them unless you're a student or taking a class there or staying there. Only, you can use them only if you come at 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. They're open to the public for a cost. So we're like, oh, okay, let's do that. Let's go to Eslan and go to the tubs. So we went at 1 a.m., had a good time. Actually, it was really weird too. There was some creepy energy in that, now that I think about it. Anyway, we're driving home and someone is tailgating us, and this person is getting very, very aggressive. And it's, like I said, it's in the middle of nowhere. We don't have cell phone service, nothing. So we pulled into the hotel. It's not a hotel, but I'm going to call it that for the sake of the story. But we pulled into the hotel and he follows in after us, and we run into the room and we lock the door. Now, mind you, it doesn't matter if we lock the door because there are no locks in the windows. But so he starts banging like rage, like he is in a fucking, excuse my language, rage. He is in a, I don't really cuss that much, but this story deserves an F-bomb here and there. He is in a, it really does, you'll see. He is in a rage. He is on something, amped up, and he's pissed because he felt like we were driving too slow. Yeah, that makes a lot of, like, it's logical, right? It's not. So one of my biggest fears back then was being someone coming into my home and harming me. That was one of my biggest fears. I don't know if it's a past life thing or whatever, but I used to I couldn't sleep at night if I was home alone. I'd check the doors a billion times. It was like a neurotic thing. I don't have that anymore. I have healed that. And it was a past life thing. Now that I think about it, I did do some regression work with it, and it's healed. It's better. I don't feel that, but it was that. So my worst nightmare was coming true. I really thought he was going to come in there and kill us. Now, let me tell you, he stood out there for 45 minutes. Do you know how long 45 minutes is when you're alone and you're three girls and there's a rageful man trying to get into your room? It's a really, really long time. Now, here's the interesting part. The interesting part is the three of us had very different reactions. So I'm going to call one friend A and one friend R for anonymity. So R is a psychologist, and so R was trying to reason with him, like, sir, we're sorry, sir, what can we do to help you, sir? And she was trying to create peace, like by reasoning with him while he's banging on the door and freaking out and screaming for 45 minutes. And then A was like a deer in the headlights, like literally a deer in the headlights. Like, she did not move. She stood on the other side of the room and was completely frozen. And then what I did, and I didn't even know I had this in me, is there was a big ass lamp in the room, and I pulled it out of the wall, and I was waited by the door. So if he came in, I had so much rage, I would have killed him. Like, I was scared he was going to kill us. There was a part of me but like this warrior came out of me. Like this, like I hadn't felt that kind of like rage before, and fear and adrenaline all at the same time. But I was standing with with this lamp, like, I can dare you. But then I have this other thing going, what if he has a gun? It's a whole, oh my gosh, it was so intense. It was so intense. 45 minutes. Now let's break down the reaction, because this is what I want to get across to you, is like how vastly different our reactions were and why. Why were they so different? Right? A came from like a picket fence, kind of like very sheltered, very like shelter's not the right word, but you know what I mean? Like she was super loved, very well taken care of, both parents in the home. And she, like, this was like nothing ever. Like, it's like, so was again, like she'd never experienced anything like this. So she froze, completely froze. Where R was a therapist, and she came from a divorced family, and where she kept the peace within her family. She was the one who made sure her parents were okay, made sure her brother was okay, made sure that people weren't fighting, and she kept the peace, and like even became a therapist to keep the peace, and that's what she was doing in the room. And then me, I came from a very abusive household where people were very mean to me often, every day, hit me, told me I was worthless, was very mean to me. And I came out with I had that violent reaction. I had that I will hurt you reaction. So because of our different backgrounds, this is why we showed up differently. Fascinating, right? But this is what happens in every day in all of our interactions, is in the places that we haven't been mindful, or the places we haven't healed, or the places where we haven't deprogrammed, we are showing up in the way that we were taught. And then when we're pushed, when we're triggered, when we're pushed, which, here's the thing, that was a big trigger, right? Big T, big trauma trigger of that man being there. But there are little T's, little triggers all day long. All day long. People cut you off in line, someone gives you a dirty look, something happens in home, you feel hurt by something someone said, you maybe you're up all night ruminating, thinking about what you could have said differently, or why did they say that? You're analyzing things. Like, these things happen every day for people, all day long. And sometimes we can manage them easier than others. So what I mean by that is sometimes we can like get triggered or feel something and then come back to center. And then sometimes we're off center for a while, right? We're just like, and we're off. And then we got to come back. So imagine for a moment, just imagine for a moment, if you knew yourself so well, you knew yourself so well, you knew your programming so well, especially the unchecked, unlooked at programming. Unchecked, I mean by unhealed, but you knew it so well that when you were triggered or pushed or shown something to you or felt something that was uncomfortable, you knew how to shift immediately. And you knew how not only to shift immediately, but you knew how to connect to yourself so that you can connect to the situation and create peace, so that you no longer are up in the middle of the night thinking, or driving to work feeling sad, or wondering why that person said this or that or the other, or wondering why you couldn't stand up for yourself for this in this moment or that moment, or wondering why you pick friends that don't treat you well. The list goes on and on and on. Instead of all of that, you're living in peace because you know yourself and you know your programming and you know how to connect to others and move through and not let the triggers run you. Because what's so fascinating about the story of the three girls, I was one of the three girls, is because of our backgrounds, we responded very differently. But this is also, I'm feisty, right? If someone pushes me up, sometimes I will collapse. Like, I'll either collapse or I'll get like, right? Like, that's my tendency. That's what I want to do. But now I have learned to neither collapse or do that. But sometimes I have to catch myself. And that comes with practice. That comes with awareness. And I want that for you. I don't want you to have any more sleepless nights if that's what happens. I don't want you to feel hurt for hours and hours. It's like understanding and knowing who you are. So at the end of the month, I have a class, a live free training called Codes of Connection. I'm going to teach you 5 codes of connection, and how to connect through the 5 codes. Tone of voice being one of them, body language being the other, being fully responsible, radical responsibility, grounding in your body here, and personal power. And so why does this matter, and why should you care about these? Why it matters and why you should care is because connecting with human beings, we do it all day long. Plus, you're connecting to yourself every microsecond. We don't ever get away from ourselves. So imagine living a life of peace and love in yourself and peace and love with the friends and the people that you care about, because you've learned how to integrate these five codes that are essential for connection. So stay tuned. We will be sending out emails and you are invited to join us. We did put this on last month, but it has changed. So if you came to the first one, the content's shifting because the guides and spirit are showing these new codes. These codes are coming through, and it's so important as we're moving into a world where we're given, we're up against disconnection, but what matters is what we do in our home, and what matters is what we do within ourselves. All right. So, the end of the story. The end of the story is we call the police. Well, the end of the story is we got out of there. My friend A did not want to get out of there because she was like, we paid for the room. I was like, we're out of here. Who cares about the room? We paid for the. She goes like, because I was nervous he was going to go back and get his friends and come back. Right? If he stayed for 45 minutes, he was committed. He was committed to torture us. So we did end up packing up, driving about 20 minutes to get cell service and called the police. And the police took 45 minutes to get there. It was crazy. We were really lucky. It was very scary, but it taught me so much, that story about myself and other people. Really. All right. My name is Beth Osmer, and I'll see you on the next video.